I did the math on this, Jack. I could retire right now and just go to Costco for every meal for the rest of my life and just get the hot dog and the soda for $1.50. and be all set to be able to feed me and my family probably. It's incredible.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. That's because it is a Picks Friday, a Winners Friday, a Finish Strong Friday edition of the mighty RTFP, presented, of course, as always, by DraftKings. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Greatly appreciate those of you that get a chance to come along for the ride. We are daily, Monday through Friday. On this show, we also have the College Draft Podcast, which is awesome and drops on Monday. So we'll, of course, be recapping all of the college football playoff games from this weekend, including tonight. Notre Dame, Indiana, going to be epic. I'm in Indianapolis. For those of you who can tell, I'm not in my normal home setup here recording. So there's a lot to get to in college football and the college draft on Monday, which will be awesome. We'll, of course, preview the rest of the bowl games and everything else, talk about the quarterfinal matchups in the college football playoff. That's going to be awesome. Even Money Betting Podcast is always awesome. And then, of course, Fantasy Feast Wednesday and Thursday. Hopefully you guys checked it out since we put it on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast feed this week. I take so many notes when John Daigle is talking. He is absolutely fantastic. Big fan of John and what he brings to the table. Just like I'm a big fan of finishing the work week strong, picking winners, even though I forgot because 2 games is rough. Hopefully I'll remember for Monday. And picking all the winners, or giving you my picks for each and every game. Week number 16 in the NFL. After I recap the Thursday night game, I was on the call. Broncos, Chargers. Thursday night football recap is always presented by Labatt Blue Light. Drink some Labatt Blue Light this weekend with your friends or family or whoever. Christmas parties, living life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
The Big Show.
Recording my recap of the Thursday night game from here at SoFi Stadium. That game was awesome. It really was a tale of 2 halves. And I guess I would also say I had no idea how much of a momentum changer a free kick could be. The Broncos totally dominate the first half, score touchdowns on their first 3 drives. They're up 21-10. And then for the first time since 1976, Cameron Dicker kicks a free kick on a horrible penalty by the Broncos, which is one of the themes in the second half. Costly penalties by the Broncos, and Justin Herbert taking over. Did it with his legs. He did it throwing the ball through the air. I was so impressed with the way Herbert took the team on his back and the resilience of this Chargers team under Jim Harbaugh. They would not have won this type of game other years. This is not the same old Chargers with Jim Harbaugh as their head coach. Huge win for the Chargers.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
All right, Ross, we're going to start our picks with the game we've talked about a lot this week. The Houston Texans are at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I really liked Kalen Bullock, didn't you?
I did. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was fantastic, had a great personality. And what's interesting about that, just to peel back the curtain a little bit, I had reached out to the Texans and said, hey, you guys won the division. I'd love to get one of your guys on, whoever you want to promote, whoever's, that likes doing it. And they came back with Kalen Bullock. I didn't know who it would be. And what's so interesting, Jack, is like after the whole hit on Grant Dubose, who I guess I found out finally on Wednesday went back to Miami. So I don't know what his official ailment is, but the fact that he stayed in Houston for 3 nights and didn't fly back to Miami, I think probably says a lot about Kalen Bullock and his situation. Thankfully or hopefully or whatever, Grant Dubose is better. I said Kalen Bullock, but Grant Dubose is doing better. Kalen Bullock obviously being the one that hit him and was on the show on Wednesday if you didn't check it out. It sounds like Mahomes is going to play. It's hard to pick the Chiefs to lose when Mahomes plays, especially when they're playing at home. So I'll be taking the Chiefs in this one. It's funny because I think I talked about this with Greg. Maybe not. Neither team is really playing all that great on offense. It's really been the defense that has led both of those teams so far. Neither one is really playing all that great on the offensive side of the ball. And so I'm fascinated to see this game play out. I don't think there's a lot of points because of it, right? They're both led by their defenses. So I'll take the Chiefs to win a close game. They seemingly always do. So what's it going to be? I don't know, 19-17? I feel like the Chiefs have won like 5 games this year by 19-17. Let's make it 6. 19-17 Chiefs.
Next up, we got an AFC North battle with the Steelers traveling to Baltimore to play the Ravens. It will surely be a 3-point game.
Yes, thank you, Jack. Jack's on it. Jack knows the deal. I'm going with the Ravens. Now, I think it's outrageous that they are favored by 6.5. That is wild to me because we know how this game ends. This game ends 20-17. Every time, forever, certainly 3 points or less. And I had no idea until Marlon Humphrey was talking about it and Greg was talking about it that the Steelers have had the Ravens number like this. I think it ends. I think it ends in this game. I think the Ravens win this game 20-17. I'll still say close. I'll still say it's a battle. But the Steelers are a little bit beat up right now. TJ Watt and Pickens. And the Ravens are sick and tired of losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're going to take it out on them. Let's go Baltimore 20-17.
Next up is the team I'm repping with my hat today. That is the New York Giants, who are against the Atlanta Falcons.
First of all, the hat is incredible. Do you have to get that hat from Costco, or is that somewhere else?
I got it on like Etsy or something. I don't think Costco is smart enough to make a hat like this.
It's unbelievable. But how are you allowed to have that? That's like their brand, Kirkland. It's just, it is so good. You wear a lot of hats, okay? I hope everybody watches at least part of today's show, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, or maybe Jack shows up on some of the social media clips. I don't know, at Ross Tucker Pod, at Ross Tucker NFL. But Jack it's my favorite hat he wears. It's the exact same, it's the exact thing they have up at Costco when you get the $1.50 hot dog, which is like a super long hot dog. And by the way, back in the day, every hot dog used to be $1. Now hot dogs are like crazy. Now it's like this unbelievable deal for Costco. What all do you get from it? You get a Pepsi and what else?
I think it's just you get it's just the combo. It's just a hot dog with the soda because they have
Amazing.
the fountain.
I mean, I did the math on this, Jack. I could retire right now and just go to Costco for every meal for the rest of my life and just get the hot dog and the soda for $1.50. and be all set to be able to feed me and my family probably. It's incredible. For those of you who don't get the reference, that's where Michael Penix Jr. found out he was the starting quarterback, and he was about to pay for the $1.50 Costco hot dog, but then he said he wasn't hungry anymore after he got the news, which okay, I can see that actually. Like you get big news, you're really excited about it, but it's just funny that like he said that. He's now my guy. Like Penix Jr. is now my favorite rookie quarterback. Like it would have been better if he's like, after I got the news, I got 2 hot dogs. I spent all $3. It's just awesome. Love that guy now. I also found out that he was committed to Tennessee to play quarterback for 2 years, and 2 weeks before signing day, they pulled it. These colleges, man, that's why you got to do what's best for you. So anyway, I'm thrilled for Michael Penix Jr. to get this opportunity. Feels like it's the right decision. And I think this is a perfect game for him to play, right? I think we probably talked about that a little bit with Greg, but at home against probably the worst team in the NFL in the New York Giants, very, very, very good spot for Penix to get his first start. I don't know, man. I think they're gonna come out and blow him away. Although Drew Lock starting for the Giants, which gives them a chance, I still think it's 27-17 Falcons.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals are at the Carolina Panthers.
I'm expecting the Carolina Panthers to play much better. That was really, really poor against the Cowboys last week. I'm not sure what happened there. It obviously wasn't good. So I'm expecting them to play much better than they did last week against the Cowboys. I think this is an absolute battle, right? Panthers were playing well for a while there, but now they've lost 3 in a row. They obviously want to play better than that. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, they're trying to finish with a winning record. They're still in the playoff mix. I think I'll take the Cardinals just because they're better to win late. I don't know that I necessarily feel great about it, but let's go Cardinals 23, Panthers 20 late.
Next up, we got the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. We know what the deal is with all of the injuries the Lions have suffered. It's been ugly. But speaking of ugly, it's really tough to watch the Bears. I mean, really tough to watch the Bears. They're not a good football team. I thought Greg Cosell made a terrific point when he talked about the issues that they've had, in particular with Caleb Williams in the pocket. He's just not as Greg would say, he's not a comfortable player, and his pocket movement's not good. It looks like he moves the wrong way a lot. Meanwhile, the Bears' defense has been admirable, but it's just like a dam that eventually it breaks, and I think it will. I don't think the Lions are losing 2 in a row. This feels to me like, I don't know, 27-17. I think the Bears might keep it competitive for a while. 27-17 Lions.
Next up is a game you might know a thing or two about with the Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Right. There's a lot of intrigue here because you got, number one, a new quarterback back in for the Titans in Mason Rudolph. And then for the Colts, they're still battling, right? They're still not done with this thing yet. They're still battling. And I think these last 3 games are pretty important for Anthony Richardson. I think he's basically determining the level of competition that they will bring in for him next year. It doesn't make them feel that much better if they finish with a winning record, if they still don't make the playoffs, but it'd be nice to finish strong. They're 6-8. Mason Rudolph's not as likely to turn the football over as Anthony Richardson is, or as, quite frankly, Will Levis is. That gives the Titans a real chance in this game. And I don't know how the Colts are going to react after that loss to the Broncos, right, where they felt like their season was kind of on the line. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Titans win this game. In fact, I think I'm going to predict it. I'm going to go 20-17. The Tennessee Titans get the win, and that's an underdog upset pick.
Ross's Underdog of the Week.
The pick I'm actually most confident about this week is westshorehome.com/Ross. If you have one of those old fiberglass bathtub shower combos, please move on from that. You'd be so much happier. Your wife would be so much happier. Your significant other, whoever that is, whatever, I don't care. They'd be so much happier with a new beautiful shower. You can do the full bath remodel. They've got the entry doors. We just got 3 new entry doors. If you ever want to be curious about what my house looks like or the brand new beautiful new doors looks like, westshorehome.com/Ross. That's westshorehome.com/Ross. They got a ridiculous deal still going. It's their biggest discount of the year. 25% off the entire project. Payments as low as $99 a month. Or you can get interest-free with no payments and no interest until 2026. It's westshorehome.com/Ross. A lot of holiday parties going on. Hopefully everywhere you go, or certainly if you're hosting the party, they have Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka and an official vodka partner of the NFL. Obviously, more opportunities this year to watch football and make delicious Smirnoff cocktails than ever before. We already had Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Now there's 2 games on Christmas. Then you got the Saturday games after that. This holiday season, when you're enjoying the game and your cocktails, please make sure to drink responsibly. Take a minute, make a plan, never drive impaired. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Next up is the LA Rams at the New York Jets.
This should be a fun game. You know, I feel like Matthew Stafford against Aaron Rodgers always is. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think there will be a decent amount of points in this one. I think it'll be back and forth. Ultimately, I guess I feel like the Jets kind of got their win they were trying to get last week, and they feel good about that. I don't know that I'm going to pick them to win 2 in a row against a Rams team that's like 7-2, I think, after a 1-4 start. Let's make it a fun one, and I think it ultimately probably similar to last week a little bit. I'll go 27-24 Rams.
Next up, Philadelphia Eagles are at the Washington Commanders in an NFC East battle.
So the Commanders are highly likely to make the playoffs. You know, they're in a good spot. The only thing, and I said this on the Ross report, the only thing I wonder about the Eagles is whether or not there's any little bit of a letdown after that big win over the Steelers, right? Because it felt like they certainly had a little bit of a letdown after the big win 3 weeks ago against the Ravens, the following week against Carolina. Now they're going on the road against the Commanders. If they play the way they did against Carolina, I think the Eagles will lose. I think they'll play a little bit better than that. I think they're playing with some major confidence after the way Jalen Hurts and the guys worked in the passing game last week. I'll say 23-17 Eagles. This, by the way, very easily could be a first-round playoff preview. There's a really good chance it could be Eagles Commanders Part 3 in the wild card round with the 2 and 7 seed.
Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Browns have a new quarterback.
Now it's the Ohio State Championship. Last week we had the Pennsylvania State Championship. Pennsylvania State Championship only happens like every 4 years for these NFL teams, whereas the Ohio State Championship happens twice a year, every year. So very, very, very different. Yes, the Browns are going with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, which I agree with. I think that's the right decision to see what you have in him, right? Do you feel like he's the 3 moving forward, the 2? You feel like you move on from him, get another young developmental guy. I doubt they're going to think he's good enough to be the starter, but give him 3 games to show what he can do, you know, right? That's really valuable for him and the organization to see what they have. I think Jameis Winston's kind of defined. Meanwhile, the Bengals, it's felt like a million times they were out of it, but they're not. I mean, they're still hanging on by a thread, but they're hanging on by a thread. So I like the Bengals to win the game. I do not see Dorian Thompson-Robinson going into Cincinnati and getting the win. I think it's probably something like Cincinnati 24, Cleveland 10. Maybe Cleveland 13, 24-13 Bengals.
Next up, the Minnesota Vikings are at the Seattle Seahawks.
The Minnesota Vikings. So I think the Seahawks are going to bounce back. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game. They got embarrassed. They got smacked. Well, what's the latest, by the way, Jack, on Geno Smith?
I heard his imaging came back clean. I don't know if that means he's going to play, but I don't think it's anything serious on their end.
Let me see what the spread is. That can tell you what they're kind of thinking is going to be the case.
He was a
Vikings
full
favored by
participant.
3. What's that?
They said he was a full participant in practice the other day.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think they're going to bounce back. That was a really bad performance against the Packers. The Vikings are on a short week on the road. I think Seattle gets this win because they desperately need it in the NFC West and the wild card battle. That's actually a sneaky, awesome game. Give me the Seahawks, another underdog, that's 2 now, to win outright. I think Seattle wins 21-20 Seahawks over the Vikings in one of the games of the day.
We finally have a Tucker Bowl. The Patriots are at the Buffalo Bills.
Have we not had many this year?
Not in a while. I mean, typically we get the divisional ones because Cowboys, Washington, so we usually have to wait for those.
Yeah. They play against each other again coming up, I think, right? Yeah, they do because the Eagles play the Giants in the last game, and every last game is a divisional game. So I love Tucker Bowls. The Bills are on fire right now. The spread for this one, by the way, 14 points, a 14-point spread, which for those of you that are not into that at all, which is totally fine, that is really large and really unusual in the NFL. I don't expect, the Patriots to win this game. I'd be impressed, quite frankly, if the Patriots were able to find a way to stay competitive. Let's call it, I don't know, 20, no, I'm going to say 31-13. I think the Bills put it on the New England Patriots. 31-13. This is not about the X's and O's. This is about the Jimmies and the Joes.
Next one, I think the NFL did us a favor with the Jaguars at the Raiders.
Why do you say that?
Well, I just think it's better when the two bad teams are playing each other because that opens up more opportunities for good games instead of just blowouts across the board, at least in my mind.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what you meant. I thought you meant NFL did us a favor so that one of those teams can get a win. Yeah, it sounds like Aiden O'Connell has a chance to play for the Raiders. This is one of those really interesting games where I think both fan bases at this point really just want the higher the draft choice to be able to pick whoever they want to pick, number 1 overall. I think the Jags would obviously stay with Trevor Lawrence, but they might trade that number 1 pick to the Raiders or somebody else who wants like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward or something, which makes it super interesting. I like the Jaguars to win. They're at least been playing competent ball the last couple weeks. I'm not sure that I can say the same for the Raiders, who have really, really struggled. So I don't have a lot of logic around this other than probably more faith in Mac Jones than I do Aiden O'Connell. So give me the Jaguars to win a close, lower scoring game. Mac Jones has been playing better. I don't know. Let's go 17-16 Jaguars, and evidently that's an upset. That's an underdog.
Ross's Underdog of the Week.
Next up is two teams that are just a little too far out of the playoffs. The Niners at the Dolphins.
You would have thought before the year that this would be the game of the weekend. I think a lot of people thought that it would, but the injuries derailed both. I'll take the Dolphins because they're playing at home, but they both kind of know their season's over. I can tell you this much, though. Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel, they still want to beat the other one badly. I'm going to say 24-23 Dolphins.
Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Dallas Cowboys.
It's actually a juicy Sunday night game. I'm really looking forward to it. The Cowboys have been playing much, much better to the point where this could be an awesome game. and the Bucks trying to keep first place in the NFC South. The Bucks, have been on fire themselves lately. This should be a great game, probably somewhat reminiscent of that Bengals-Cowboys Monday night game a couple weeks ago. I'll still take the Bucks to win it late, but I think this is like 27-24, a really, really fun back and forth Sunday night game.
And we wrap things up with the New Orleans Saints at the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football.
Right. Obviously, I'm going to take the Packers. The Saints kind of know they're out of it at this point. And, man, Jack, I feel like I've seen this movie before. Late in the season, a team from the South comes up to the North and has to play a night game, in particular like a Monday night game against the Packers. That never goes well. I think the Saints will give it everything they have for the first half, and then in the second half, I think they will pack it up and pack it in. Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Let's go Packers 24, Saints 13. 24-13, I think the Packers get the win. I also think that hopefully I will remember to, during my travels the next few days, to pick out winners for Monday's show. So it's not too late to spread the word via social media if you haven't already, or to go ahead and take advantage of any of our sponsors. So spread the word via social media. All you do is engage in some way with @RossTuckerPod on any platform, especially a comment or a reply or whatever. Sponsor confirmation email winner. Take advantage of any of the sponsors you hear on the show, like WestShoreHome.com/Ross, or the YouTube shout out. Just make a comment at youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. I'm confident that I will pick winners for Monday's show. Other than that, I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. I think it's even better. I said this the other day. Buy a gift for a loved one at myfrontpagestory.com and then hand them the envelope, which tells them that you made the purchase, so they know you did it ahead of time, and then tell them a story is coming for them. Can you imagine the anticipation, the excitement? Incredible. BackOfficeScheduler.com, HumanHeadNYC.com, Sporticulture.